There is a specific kind of quiet that settles over a room when a child is deep in thought. Is less than break time equals 0. 6S is greater than. It isn't the silence of sleep or the void of boredom. It's a heavy, electric stillness. You've seen it, haven't you? That moment where your little one stares at their own hand or watches a dust mote dance in a beam of sunlight, and for a second, the rest of the world just falls away. In those moments, we often feel like we're just observers, watching a tiny person pass the time. But if you look closer, right into the center of that focus, you aren't looking at a simple daydream. You're witnessing a construction site. Is less than break time equals 0. 6S is greater than. Beneath the soft curve of their forehead, billions of neurons are firing, reaching out like frantic travelers trying to find a home, weaving the very fabric of who that child will become. We often worry about genius as if it's a destination, a trophy at the end of a long academic road. We think of flashcards and rigid schedules. But the real secret, the one they don't tell you in the parenting manuals, is that brilliance isn't built in a classroom. It's built in the dirt, in the kitchen, and in the reflection of your eyes. Is less than break time equals 0. 6S is greater than. I remember watching a mother sit on the floor with her 10-month-old. There were no expensive toys in sight, just a wooden spoon and a metal pot. To anyone else, it was just noise. But as she tapped a rhythm, tap, 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 pause and waited, something miraculous happened. The baby didn't just hit the pot. He waited, he listened, he mimicked. In that tiny gap of silence between the taps, his brain was calculating more than we can imagine. He was learning the architecture of cause and effect. He was discovering that the world has a pulse and that he has the power to change it. We sometimes feel the pressure to teach our children as if we are the masters and they are the empty vessels. But what if we shifted that? What if we realized that every time we follow their lead, we are actually handing them the keys to a kingdom? Is less than break time equals 0. 6S is greater than. Think about the way they look at you when you mimic their babbles. When you repeat those nonsense sounds back to them, you aren't just playing. You are telling their brain's internal alarm system that it is safe, that it is heard, and that its ideas, no matter how small, matter. This sense of security is the foundation of all high-level thinking. A brain that feels safe is a brain that is free to explore. I want you to take a breath and realize that you are already doing the work. Is less than break time equals 0.6S is greater than. Every time you narrate your day, every time you describe the rough texture of a towel or the cold splash of water, you are downloading a library of concepts into a mind that is hungrier than any supercomputer. You are sparking the light. But this is just the beginning. Beyond the silence and the simple echoes, there is a world of movement and hidden patterns waiting to be unlocked. And as we move forward together, we're going to see how the simplest physical shifts can turn a morning stroll into a masterclass in logic. Is less than break time equals 0.6S is greater than to do. The spark has been lit. Now, we just have to watch how the fire begins to spread. It starts with a reach. Is less than break time equals 0.6S is greater than. That shaky, uncoordinated stretch of a tiny arm toward a dangling ribbon or a colorful ball. To us, it's just a reach. But to them, it is their first great negotiation with the physical world. In this stage of the journey, we begin to see that a child's genius isn't just about what they can say, but how they move through the space we've given them. Have you ever noticed how a toddler becomes obsessed with moving things from one container to another? They'll spend 40 minutes taking wooden blocks out of a basket and putting them back in. Is less than break time equals 0. 6S is greater than, again and again and again. It can feel tedious to watch. We want to move on, to do something else. But in that repetition, they are mastering the invisible laws of the universe. They are learning about volume, how much space is inside a box. They are learning about gravity and weight. When you sit there and simply watch, or perhaps hand them a different shaped object to see how they adapt, you are participating in a high-level physics lab. I remember a father who used to turn his living room into a sensory jungle. He didn't buy anything new, he just laid out different textures on the floor. A fuzzy rug, a smooth silk scarf, a crinkly piece of parchment paper. Is less than break time equals 0. 6s is greater than... He let his daughter crawl across them in her diaper, feeling the world against her skin. As she moved, her brain was being flooded with data. Each new sensation was a new word in a silent language. By allowing her to experience the rough and the smooth with her whole body, he was building the neural pathways for categorization and comparison. This is the hidden language of the unseen, the way a child learns to differentiate between this and that before they ever have the words to name them. Is less than break time equals 0. 6s is greater than... When we engage in mirror play, sitting with them in front of a glass and touching our noses or sticking out our tongues, we are doing something even deeper. We are helping them bridge the gap between their internal map and the external world. They see a face move. They feel their own muscles move. They realize, with a shock of joy, that the person in the mirror is them. This realization, this self-recognition, is a massive cognitive leap. It's the birth of self-awareness. And it happens because you took 5 minutes to sit on the floor and make silly faces. Is less than break time equals 0. 6s is greater than... We often think that to boost a brain, we need to add complexity. But the truth is, the brain craves the simple patterns of the natural world. Think of the way a child's eyes light up when they play with water, pouring it from a cup, watching it splash, feeling it slip through their fingers. Is less than break time equals 0. 6s is greater than Dane. They are investigating the properties of matter. They are learning that some things stay solid and others flow. You might feel like you're just making a mess on the kitchen floor, but in reality, you are holding space for a scientist. You are giving them the freedom to ask what if without the fear of being wrong. As they begin to master these physical sensations, their focus starts to shift. It moves from the what to the how. They start looking for the hidden order in the chaos. Is less than break time equals 0. 6s is greater than, and as we'll see next, those simple patterns they find in their play are the very same blueprints that will one day help them solve the most complex problems of their lives. The transition happens almost overnight. Is less than break time equals 0. 6s is greater than. One day, they are simply moving objects for the sake of movement, and the next, they are looking for the why. They begin to sort. You might find them lining up their toy cars by color, or grouping the large spoons away from the small ones. To an adult eye, it looks like tidying up, but to a developing mind, this is the birth of logic. This is the moment they realize that the world isn't just a collection of random things, but a system of patterns. Is less than break time equals 0. 6s is greater than. When you see them doing this, and you lean in to ask, does this blue one go with that one? You aren't just talking. You are validating their emerging ability to categorize the very skill that will one day allow them to understand mathematics, music, and the complex structures of language. I remember watching a grandmother sit with her grandson and a pile of laundry. It seemed like a chore, something to get out of the way, but she turned it into a symphony of patterns. is less than break time equals 0. 6s is greater than... Can you find the socks that match? She asked softly. As the boy hunted for the identical stripes and colors, he wasn't just helping with the chores. He was engaging in visual discrimination. He was training his eyes and brain to spot minute differences and similarities. In that simple act, he's building the foundation for reading. After all, what is a letter except a specific pattern of lines and curves? If a child can tell the difference between a striped sock and a spotted one, they are already on the path to telling the difference between a bee and a dude. Is less than break time equals 0.6s is greater than... There is a profound beauty in these hidden lessons. Think about the way we play hide and seek, or even just hide a toy under a blanket. The look of pure, unadulterated shock and then joy when the object reappears, that is the object permanence breakthrough. It's the realization that something can exist even if they can't see it. This is the root of abstract thought. It's the ability to hold an idea in your mind when the physical evidence is gone. We often rush through these games because we know the outcome. We know the toy is under the blanket, is less than break time, equals 0. 6s is greater than. But for them, it's a high-stakes mystery. Every time you play along, you are strengthening their working memory. You are teaching them to trust their own mind. Even the way we build with blocks or stack cups carries this weight. When the tower falls, and it always falls, the genius isn't in the building, it's in the reaction. Is less than break time equals 0.6s is greater than. If we gasp and act like it's a disaster, they learn to fear failure. But if we laugh and say, "Oh, it went boom, let's try again," we are teaching them the most important genius trait of all: resilience. We are showing them that a mistake is just a data point. We are moving away from the physical world now and entering the realm of the abstract. Is less than break time equals 0.6s is greater than. Those patterns they've found in the blocks and the socks are starting to vibrate with a new kind of energy. They are starting to make sense of the rhythm of life itself. And soon, they won't just be observing the world. They'll be ready to hear it, feel it, and speak back to it in a language all their own. Suddenly, the world isn't just something to look at, it's something that hums. Is less than break time equals 0.6s is greater than. If you listen closely, you'll hear it too. It's in the rhythm of the rain against the window, the steady ticking of a clock, or the melodic rise and fall of your voice as you tell a story. This is the stage where the child's brain begins to harmonize, turning isolated facts into a full-scale symphony of the senses. We often think of learning as a quiet, sedentary act, but for a budding genius, learning is loud, it's messy, and it's deeply rhythmic. Is less than break time equals 0. Is greater than. Have you ever watched a child start to sway before they can even walk? Or noticed how they instinctively bang two blocks together to create a beat? They aren't just making noise. They are tapping into the primal architecture of the brain. Music and rhythm are the shortcut to complex logic. When you clap along with them, or sing a simple song where they have to fill in the last word, you are wiring their brain for temporal processing, the ability to understand sequences and time. I remember a moment in a busy park. A mother was sitting on a bench, and instead of just pointing at the birds, she closed her eyes with her child. Is less than break time equals 0. Is less than break time equals 0. Is greater than. Listen, she whispered. What do you hear? They sat there for a long minute, just absorbing the layers of sound, the distant bark of a dog, the rustle of leaves, the hum of a passing car. In that moment of shared auditory scanning, she was teaching his brain to filter out the static and focus on the signal. In a world that is increasingly distracted, the ability to focus, to truly attend to one sense at a time, is a superpower. It is the root of deep concentration. Is less than break time equals 0. 6S is greater than. But the symphony goes beyond just sound. It's in the heavy work of their muscles. Have you noticed how much they love to push a heavy laundry basket or pull a wagon? We might worry they're overexerting themselves, but their nervous system is actually craving that resistance. This is what scientists call proprioception, the sense of where our body is in space. When a child learns exactly how much force it takes to push a chair across the floor without tipping it, they are calibrating their internal GPS. They are learning the physical boundaries of their own self. Is less than break time equals 0. 6S is greater than. And here is the beautiful secret. When a child feels grounded in their body, their mind is free to soar. The more they master the physical symphony of their movements, the more bandwidth they have left over for creative thinking. We are so close now. Is less than break time equals 0. Our 6S is greater than. They have the spark, they understand the patterns, and they are starting to feel the rhythm of the world around them. All these individual threads, the silence, the touch, the logic, the sound, are beginning to weave together. Soon, the play becomes more than just play. It becomes a vision. Is less than break time equals 0.6S is greater than. They are no longer just reacting to what is in front of them. They are starting to imagine what could be. They are standing on the edge of the horizon, looking toward a future they are finally ready to build. It all leads to this moment. Is less than break time equals 0.6S is greater than the moment where the blocks are no longer just wood and the water is no longer just wet. You see it in their eyes, that flickering light of pretend. When they hand you a plastic cup and tell you it's a steaming potion, or when a cardboard box becomes a vessel for a journey across the stars, you are witnessing the ultimate peak of human intelligence, the ability to imagine what does not yet exist. This is the horizon of tomorrow. Is less than break time equals 0.6S is greater than. We often call it just play, but for a child, this is the rehearsal for reality. When you join them in that world, when you take a sip of that invisible tea, or help them navigate that cardboard ship, you aren't just humoring them, you are providing the scaffolding for their executive function. You are helping them practice planning, social negotiation, and the incredible cognitive flexibility required to see the world from another perspective. I remember a young girl who spent an entire afternoon reading a book to her stuffed animals. She couldn't actually read a single word yet, but she was mimicking the cadence of her father's voice, turning the pages with a serious, focused intensity. Is less than break time equals 0. Is SCS is greater than. She was becoming the reader before she had the skill. She was building a self-identity as someone who is curious, someone who holds the keys to stories. That is the true secret of the genius we've been looking for. It isn't found in a score or a test. It's found in the confidence to explore. It's found in the way they look at a problem, a tangled knot, or a broken toy, and instead of crying, they pause. They remember the patterns. They feel the rhythm. They remember that you were there, right beside them on the floor, showing them that the world is a place of wonder rather than a place of fear. Is less than break time equals 0. 6S is greater than. As you look at your child today, see the invisible architecture you've helped them build. See the genius in the way they pause to watch a beetle, or the way they try a third time to stack that difficult cup. You haven't just been passing time. You have been the architect of a mind that is now ready to ask its own questions find its own answers, and eventually shape the world in its own image. Is less than break time equals 0, 6s is greater than. The quiet in the room is different now. It's no longer a spark, it's a steady, glowing warmth. And as they drift off to sleep, their brain will continue that beautiful, silent work, replaying the rhythms, sorting the patterns, and preparing for the dawn of a new day. Is less than break time equals 0, 6s is greater than. You've given them everything they need. The rest, that's their story to write.